The content you're about to enjoy comes from the archives of The Best You. We're devoted to the very best in personal development. With a magazine and resources dedicated to inspiring and changing people's lives, at The Best You, we work with the world's leading writers and trainers on the evolution of the self, and people whose journeys have been affected by their work and words. For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to introduce Baroness Mone of Mayfair, OBE!
Guys, can you hear me okay? Yes? Sorry, my head mic kept falling off, so hopefully the sound will be all right in this large room. Thank you very much for coming and to hearing me today. And I just wanted to give you an overview of my life and my business career. And everyone has a story, and but my story is pretty incredible. Sometimes I don't even believe it myself, of how many times I've fallen down and how many times I've picked myself back up. Because in life, it's the only way to do it. Every day is a school day, and every day you learn. And that's the way you've got to face things in life. So we're just going to start off with where I grew up, in the East End of Glasgow. And this is where I grew up. And I used to sit with my mum and dad and play Monopoly and always want to land on Mayfair. It's weird, I did, because Mayfair to me was a very successful place with amazing fast cars and homes and success. And that's where I wanted to be. And so it's funny that I'm now Baroness Mone of Mayfair, and that used to always be a dream to end up there. But this is where I grew up, just above Coya's Cafe in Duke Street. And there was one bedroom and no bathroom until I was 12 years old. And unfortunately, my brother died when I was very young. And my family were devastated, as you can imagine. And my dad came in about 3 months later and said, "Michelle, I've got you your own bedroom." And I said, "Wow, are we moving?" And he said, "No, I cut this off the end of your bed and I've squeezed it into your mum's broom cupboard." And that was my bedroom, and I absolutely loved that room. And my dad lowered the ceiling and he put sparkly stickers up there as well. And I used to just dream about being successful and helping people and, you know, getting out of poverty and being a major success. So when I was 12 years old, I decided to start a paper round. And I used to always go down to the corner shop and try and convince them to give me a job. And he said, "Michelle, you're too young, get back to school." And I kept asking constantly. And one day he said, "OK, I'll give you a chance." And I started, and about 5 months later, I had 17 teenagers working for me. And I used to pay them after Dynasty in Dallas every single Friday. I used to pay them up the back of the close, it was called. And William and Jimmy said to me, "But you're only 12 and we're 15. You should be working for us." I said, "Shut your face or I'll fire you. Get on with it and get back to your job." And I was a really strong, young-minded woman. I don't know where it came from, because there was certainly no entrepreneurs in my family. But I was just so focused that I wanted to be a success. And I didn't let anything stand in my way. And I really do believe that no matter where you're from, no matter the colour of your skin, your religion, if you're from money, not from money, if you managed to do well at school and you didn't manage to do well at school, that doesn't matter. It's what you do with your life. And never, ever let someone say to you that you'll never be a success. I don't believe in the word can't. And that's what used to drive me my whole career. So then, when I was 13, I got headhunted by the sweetie shop, Pick-a-Pack, across the road. And they paid me 15 pence more an hour. And I was off like a shot. And I used to run down every single day after school and work a full Saturday. There was no Sunday trading then, or I would have worked on a Sunday as well. When I was 14, I got diagnosed I was dyslexic, but that didn't hold me back. I really didn't care about it because I used to teach myself how to read and how to behave in the business world that I wanted to be in. My hero was Richard Branson. I absolutely loved him. I used to have a poster of him above my bed, and I really did look up to him. When I was 15, my careers teacher said to me, "What do you want to do, Michelle?" I said, "Miss, I want to be an entrepreneur." And she says, "And what does that mean?" And I had to explain to her what an entrepreneur was. And I think she thought that you just nicked stuff and you sold it down the barrows at the weekend. But I was really determined. She says, "Michelle, you're dyslexic. You're not that great at school. I really think you should go and get a job in the co-op down the bottom of Duke Street." Now, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I really didn't want to do that as a career. So when my dad was 38, I was then 15. He woke up and he wanted to shout at my mum, and he couldn't move his legs. So they called an ambulance, and 2 weeks later, they told my mum and dad the devastating news that he was paralysed from the waist down. He had a disease in the spinal cord called hemangioma, and he was paralysed at 38 years old. So my mum got sacked for depression. My dad got sacked for being in a wheelchair. So I had no option but to leave school at 15 years old. Was absolutely nothing going for me apart from that sheer passion, determination and a can-do attitude that I knew I was going to be a success. And I think, guys, if you ever doubt yourself for one split second, everyone else will doubt you too. You've got to go out there into the business world with your shoulders held back and being as confident as you possibly can be. And if people see that, you will succeed, believe you me, you will. So I left school at 15. I went round all the doctor's surgeries, dentist surgeries to find a job, and no one would give me a job because I didn't have a national insurance card number. So I signed up with a modelling company and I did a bit of modelling. And my first main job was I became the tenant's lager girl, one of the girls on the cans in a white swimsuit. My dad was so proud because he got all this free beer. But then when they found out I was only 15 and you had to be 18, they fired me and they had to destroy all the tenants' cans. So I went on and I started being the James Bond promotion girl for Licence to Kill. And I did okay, but I wasn't going to be a Kate Moss or anything. I just did it to get by, to get some money. And I wanted to be a business person. I met my first boyfriend, my husband, when I was 17. And that's another story. I'll tell you about that later. But I was really focused and I wanted to get involved in business. I had my first baby when I was 20 years old. And that's when I knew I had to get experience in the business world. So I applied for an admin job with Labatt's, the beer company. And I got the job. And I thought, yeah, beauty. I'm just going to get my head down and I'm going to work so hard. And sometimes when you work for someone, you get a contract. My advice to any of you who works for someone else just now is rip your contract up and just work the hardest you can work and make the people above you realise, oh my goodness, isn't he or she amazing? And that's how you get on in a company. You can't be there moaning and groaning. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. But if you're going to stay there, do it to the best of your ability. So I went in there and I thought, I am going to be Director of Scotland within 4 years. I'm going to work really hard. I was 20 years old. By the age of 23, I was running the whole of Labatt's for Scotland. I worked my way up 15 positions from an admin girl who couldn't even type. I had to pay the woman a £5 a week to type my letters for me. That's how bad it was. So I made it. But then when I was 24 and I had my second baby, Declan, I got made redundant. I was absolutely devastated. I had a big mortgage, gas bill, electricity bill, 2 kids, and no job. And I went to a dinner dance one night with my husband and all my friends, still really panicking. Where am I going to get a job? And I was wearing an uncomfortable cleavage bra. And that's when the moment happened. I thought I was moving the bra around and moving the straps around. And I thought, my God, this bra is so uncomfortable. Why should women go through all this pain for a wee bit of gain? This is awful. So I took the bra off and I put it in the bin. And I went out of the bathroom braless. And I went up to the table and I said to all my friends, I'm starting a business on Monday. And they all said, what do you mean? What business? What do you know about business? I said, I'm going to invent a bra. And they says, a bra? What do you know about bras? You've never been to college, you've never been to a design studio, university. And my ex-husband said, you haven't even sewn a button in my shirt, your mum does it. So how are you going to invent a bra? I says, well, I've got a pair of boobs and I'll work it out. And that's what I did for 3.5 years of my life. I invented the world's first gel-filled bra. And I could stand up here for days and weeks and months and tell you about all the trials and tribulations of building this business with 0 cash. I used to have 12 credit cards and I would take my Marks and Spencer's cards to the store. I would buy all these clothes. I would take them back the next day. I would get vouchers and I would sell the vouchers to my family till I got money, till I got cash. I used to put my cash line card in and they used to tell me where to go. It was that bad. And in 3.5 years' time, I was £480,000 in debt. But I just kept going because I knew in here that I was going to be a major success and I knew my product was going to be famous round the world. And yes, I was up against all these massive, huge, ginormous bra companies, but that didn't put me off. And none of you should be put off by anyone. We're all here only once, and you've got to do your best. Life is too short. So why should you sit there and think, I'm not good enough? I doubt myself. I'm going through all this pain. No one else is going through the pain. Believe you me, some of the richest people in the world have issues. It's just how you deal with those issues that make you a winner. And every single successful entrepreneur goes through so much pain. And if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. So that's what you've got to face. So anyway, I went home, started working on Ultimo. I had a tiny desk in my bedroom and the cot was at the other side of the room. And now, it's sometimes you've got to pinch yourself that Ultimo is now part of 63,000 people and part of a massive company that bought me last year, the final part last year. But it did all start off with my bedroom and from my bedroom. So £480,000 in debt, no bra that worked. Then the final prototypes came in of Ultimo. And I got all my friends and aunties round to my bedroom. And I said, right, Auntie Joan, you're first to try on Ultimo. She says, well, why me? Why not your Auntie Jean? Why do you always ask me to try on your prototypes? I said, because you're a 38 AA. You should be called Uncle Joan, not Auntie Joan. And if I can give you a cleavage, I'm going to be a massive success. So get into the toilet and try on the bra. And she came out and she had this massive cleavage. And I thought, yeah, beauty, that's it. I'm going to be a multimillionaire. This product really does work. But I'd been spending 3.5 years of my life working, inventing the product. I didn't think about channels of distribution, sales, setting up the company. I didn't think about any of that. I was so focused on this product. Now I had the product, what was I going to do? So I took the bag of bras and I booked a train. I was heavily pregnant with my third baby, Bethany, and I turned up to the buying office in Duke Street, Selfridges, just off Oxford Street. I thought, I want to get into the most prestigious department store in the UK, because I always have believed my whole life, guys, that if you're going to do something, do it right. Think big, because if you think big, big things will happen. If you think small, there's no point. If you're going to do it in a big way. So I turned up with my bag of bras, pregnant, to the buying office. I says, hello to the reception woman. I'm here to see the bra buyer. She says, bra buyer? We don't have a bra buyer. I says, no, you do. I've just been up to your third floor where you sell your bras. I'd like to see her. She says, you mean lingerie buyer? We don't have bra buyers. They're called lingerie buyers. I says, well, I'm here to see her. She says, and what's your name? I said, Michelle Mone. And she says, what time's your appointment? I says, well, I don't really have an appointment. I'm just here to see her. She says, what's it about? I says, well, in this bag of bras, I've put 3.5 years of my life into this, £480,000 in debt. My house is security up to the bank, and I'm pregnant with my third baby, and this is the best cleavage bra in the world, and I need to see the bra buyer. She says, lingerie buyer. She says, I'll call, but there's no way she'll see you. You've got to send your products in. They go into a quarterly review meeting, and we will call you if we like it, if it's selected. I says, look, I don't have time for that. Well, you just asked the woman to come down and see me and try my bra on. So she called her, and the buyer came down about an hour later. She started to say, look, we appreciate that you're interested in Selfridges, but send your pack in, send a presentation in, and it might take up to a year till we get back to you. Well, I started to cry. I thought, I can't do this. I'll go home and I'll get a divorce. I've got to get my bras into Selfridges. Please try the bra on. And I started to cry. I says, I'm pregnant. I'm about to have my third baby. Please just try the bra on. So she went into the changing room and she tried it on. She says, oh my God, this bra is amazing. Look at the cleavage I've got. I says, I've been trying to tell your receptionist that for an hour and a half. She says, you're in. Selfridges want stock right away. So the reason why I'm telling you that story, guys, is don't ever sit back and wait for someone to call you. If you're serious about business, about being an entrepreneur, you have to go out there and you have to approach people, because if you don't do that, they ain't going to tap on your door. That's a fact. So if you're serious, don't kid yourself on and just go for it. So on the way back to Glasgow, I went to see the Prince's Trust, and they gave me £5,000 to find a tiny office. That was my first office, which was about the size of this stage. And I took on my first employee, and I was getting ready for the launch of Ultimo. I had £500 left, when every other bra company spends millions and millions of pounds, and I had £500 left. But I also believe that the less money you have, the more creative and the more determined you become. I don't believe in big fat checkbooks. Just always be creative when you're trying to launch a product or a service.
For complimentary resources from my book, my complimentary e-course, The Power of the Question, or recommended reads, go to www.thequestion.com/resources. For more information on my coaching or mentoring, go to www.bernardo-moya.com.
So I was due Bethany 4 weeks after the launch of Ultimo, and the launch was coming up, and I went into labour in the office. So I went along to the Sutherland General, I had Bethany, and 48 hours later I was back at work full time. Which sounds bad, I know. And Bethany always reminds me of that when she wants a new outfit. You left me when I was 2 days old. But sometimes in life you've got to do what you've got to do. And I went away down to London to launch Ultimo just after giving birth, 48 hours. before. And I hired 12 actors and I dressed them up as plastic surgeons. And I had them all shouting, "Ban the Ultimo bra. Don't go in there and buy it. You'll put us out of a job. Have breast enhancers have breast surgery instead. Don't buy this bra because you'll never want surgery." And they were all mental actors. And people actually believed that these were plastic surgeons. And some of them had kidney bowls, and the public were throwing money into the kidney bowls, feeling sorry for them. And within 2 hours, this got across all the news networks that there were these plastic surgeons picketing about this bra. And they all thought, what's going on in Oxford Street? The road came to a standstill, and that £500, guys, turned into £46 million in PR. Just overnight, just like that. And Selfridges sold 6 months' stock in 5 hours. And they said they'd never seen anything as big as it since the Furbies at Christmas. And that was it. Boom. We made it. Unbelievable. These surgeons, well, the actors, made a big difference. So sometimes when you're launching a product, you've got to sit back. If you've not got that amount of money, even if you have, what stunt can you come up with? Writing a simple press release for your business needs to be a one-pager. And any of you in this room can do it. You just need to find out the list of the journalists, which is so easy to do. Maybe after my speech I can talk to some of you. I'll be up here all day. But you are passionate about your business or your service. And PR companies are out there, some good, some ones that are crap. But the only person who will be passionate is you. So you can do your own PR as well. Get involved in doing radio interviews. If they're looking for women and men to comment on a specific industry area, volunteer. Phone up 5 Live. Phone up BBC Women's Hour and say, please, I'm here for you to interview me. And I'm the best in this area. And you will find time after time, you will start to build up a name for yourself. If there's competitions going, guys, get right in there and win them. And that's how you'll get your PR. So I went away back up to Glasgow, getting back to the story. Back up to Glasgow, thought, yeah, beauty, we sold out. Oh my goodness, this business is flying. And then Angela came up, the first employee, and she says, there's a woman on the phone for you. American women. I says, well, I don't know an American woman. I don't know anyone in America. Who is she? She says her name is Barbara Lipton. She's the president of Saks Fifth Avenue in New York. I says, well, who's Saks Fifth Avenue? I've no idea. Who are they? I had no idea they owned 54 stores. I was so naive. And I thought, that will be my friend Eileen winding me up. She always winds me up. And you know what? I don't have time for her at the moment. I'm trying to pack bras in the warehouse. So I picked up the phone and I says, Eileen, what's up? She says, sorry, my name's Barbara Lipton. I'm the president of Saks Fifth Avenue from New York. And do you know that Julia Roberts is wearing your bra in Erin Brockovich? It's a movie that launched in Times Square last night. And everyone's talking about you. We need to see you immediately. I says, what are you talking about? Erin Brockovich? I've never heard of you. I've never heard of Erin Brockovich. Look, Eileen, I've been up all night breastfeeding Bethany, and I've got no time for the wind-ups today. I'll phone you back tonight. And I just beat it, and I put the phone down. And it's a true story, because I launched my autobiography last year, and Barbara Lipton comments on this telephone call. She couldn't believe it. So about half an hour later, this fax came through with a big crest of Saks Fifth Avenue saying, I couldn't understand your Scottish accent. We got cut off. Could you please call me back immediately? We need to launch your bras across America. And what had happened was I sent 200 prototypes out of my bra to all these wardrobe people, celebrities, film companies. And her wardrobe people picked up the bra. So it's another example of never sit back and wait for celebs or key profile people that you want to wear or use your product or your service. Get out there and go for them. And, social media now, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, the whole thing is absolutely amazing now. That you guys, it's far easier now than it was when I started 21 years ago. So after that, we went to America and we launched in Saks Fifth Avenue, and we sold out there as well. And we were launching in Bloomingdale's, Neiman Marcus, you name it. We were taking over America. And 3.5 years later, my husband came home and said, I've given up my job. I'm now the CEO of Ultimo. I went, oh, really? You're the one that wanted me to stop the business. You didn't believe in it. But anyway, that's fine. You're my husband. No problem at all. And Saks Fifth Avenue and Bloomingdale said you need to find a distributor because you cannot manage your brand in Canada and America from Scotland. You have to find someone. So that was Michael's job, to find someone. And meanwhile, we launched in Australia. We launched in Canada. We launched in Japan. We launched everywhere across the world. All I was doing was living out of a suitcase. And the brand was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we were winning award after award. And we met this couple in the W Hotel in New York. And Michael, my ex-husband, said, this is the couple who are going to be the distributors. And I scanned them upside down. And I looked into their eyes. And I got a horrible feeling. And in business and in life, guys, you've got to go with your intuition. Trust your intuition, because it's normally bang on. And I said, could I have a word with you outside? And I went outside and I said, look, I don't like the feel of this couple. I think we should look for someone else. He says, no, we're going to sign it with them. I'm the business graduate. You left school at 15 and we're going to sign with them. And I said, OK, if that's your decision, please allow Saks and Neiman's and Bloomingdale's to pay us directly. Don't give the money to them and we'll give them the distribution fee. And he says, you don't know what you're talking about. Let me do it. I'm the business guy. So I went off. And to be honest with you, I don't want to talk too much about it, but if we had a business coach dealing with us in the business, probably we'd have still been married to this date. But it was so stressful working with your husband, because we brought all the work back home and we would never turn off. And that's why I love now being a mentor and helping people, and especially companies and the couples as well, because you've got to have your ground rules, or either the business will go bust or you'll get a divorce. So it didn't happen for me. I didn't have anyone around me. So I just went on with the business and carried on. And we were in People magazine, 54 million readers, Oprah Winfrey, CNN, US Today. We were taking over America. It was absolutely unbelievable. And I met my hero, Richard Branson, as well. And I was just this young star, winning all the awards. And everyone was talking about me and the brand. And it was unbelievable. And we were building up this team. And then we set up in China and we set up in Hong Kong, and we were taking over the bra industry. We got offered several offers, but we always said no, that we wanted to build it and get bigger and bigger and bigger. Until one day, boom, I was right. It was a horrible, horrible time in my life where I was piling on the weight because it was my way of dealing with stress, and in a quite an abusive marriage as well, which I can't go into, and it was horrific. And I'd called the distributors that morning and the lines were cut off, all their mobiles, their office and their home lines, the distributors from America. And I was right. They ran off with £1.4 million of cash and 10 months of stock. And the banks found out about this, the bank, and they gave us 2 weeks to pay back the overdraft. And it was just pure hell. It was absolute hell. And Michael went to several banks and they all said no. And I dropped the kids at school one day and I was so down and depressed. And this picture really does remind me of how it feels to be an entrepreneur when things are not going well. I'm sure all of you have experienced that in this room. Am I right? And some of you are going through it right now. Well, all I would say to you is you've got to hold on as much as you possibly can, because there's no other way. If you give in, your life, what will happen to you? It will just be a nightmare. If you get back up every single time I fall, and I fall so hard, and the criticism of the press and everything else, you've got to get up and dust yourself down. And you'll find that when you do that, you'll fly even higher than you've ever gone before. And that's what makes you the person that you are. So I dropped the kids off at school, and I went back up to my house, and I went up to the bathroom, the ensuite, and I opened the medicine cabinet. I was down, I was overweight, I was miserable. I had no answers. And I just thought, it's over now. Everything's going to go. And I'm going to just be like the laughing idiot. I don't have any more answers. I'm trying my hardest. I've fought my whole life for everything. But I give up now. And I opened that medicine cabinet, and I swear, for that split second, I just thought that was my answer to take away all the pain. And I called my mum in tears. And my mum was round within 10 minutes. And she had house keys, and she ran into the house shouting, "Where are you? Where are you?" She knew. And I was on the bathroom floor crying my eyes out. And she picked me up. And she says, "What on earth are you doing? Why are you thinking about doing this? Taking all these pills? What is going through your head? There's kids that are dying of leukemia. There's families that can't even put bread on the table. And you think that just because you've lost some money that this is it?" I says, "It's not just a little bit of money, Mum. It's 1.4 million quid in 10 months of stock. And I don't know what to do." And she shook me. And she says, "You must know someone. You've got to know someone. There's someone out there that will help you." I went, "Oh my God, Mum, Sir Keith Whitson." She says, "And who the hell is Sir Keith Whitson?" I said, "Well, I met him 4 months ago with the most powerful media guy in the country, a guy called Richard Desmond. And there was just 6 of us in his boardroom having lunch. And I sat next to this guy. I thought he was his bank manager. And within half an hour, I was teaching him how to measure the waitress's bra size with his eyes. And he was so impressed because he got it right every time. She's a 34 double D, she's a 34A. And I said to him, "How long have you been Richard's bank manager for?" He says, "I'm not Richard's bank manager. My name is Sir Keith Whitson. I'm chairman of HSBC Global Bank, and I'm based in Hong Kong." I thought, God, that's a big job, that, isn't it? And we swapped mobile numbers. She says, "Where's his card?" I says, "I don't know where it is." She went, "Well, go get up off that bloody floor and go and look for his card." And I found his card, and I called him, and I said, "Sir Keith, it's Michelle here." He says, "Oh, Michelle, how are you? How's things?" And I told him the story, and I was crying down the phone. He says, "Michelle, I will send my team of people into your company tomorrow." And he sent them in the next day, and they came back and they said, "We need a 4-week extension from your own bank because we need to do due diligence." I went back to my other bank, and they wouldn't give us any more time at all. And he says, "Michelle, I'm really sorry. Best of luck." And on the Friday, the bank was coming to close us down. And I still didn't give up. And my ex-husband told all the team to clear their desks, that it was over. Everyone was crying, but I still knew that it wasn't over yet. And the bank came drawn outside at 4:45 on the Friday, and Angela ran in, and she says, "There's a phone call for you." I says, "Who is it?" She says, "It's Sir Keith Whitson." And he also comments in my book as well. It's an amazing guy. And I picked up the phone and I said, "The bank are outside, Sir Keith. They're coming. That's it. It's over." And he says, "Not just yet, my dear. Welcome to HSBC Bank." And my God, right to the wire. And all I'm telling you these stories because I'm sure a lot of you have gone through it. You're going through it just now, or you will go through it, unfortunately. And the secret is never to give up the fight, to keep going. So that was it. I was back on Power, and we started signing all these big celebrities. I was so focused on my business, because what drives business is innovation. You've got to keep reinventing yourself and reinventing the business. So I went up to Penny Lancaster. She basically was a new bird of Rod Stewart, and I met her in the Dorchester. And I said, would you put my brand thong on and I'll make you really famous? Because no one had really heard of her then. He just finished with his ex-wife, Rachel Hunter. And it was an amazing relationship for 2 years. The PR was everywhere. And I started invention after invention, from going from the gel-fill bra to the backless bra, to the frontless bra, to the lowest bra in the world. You name it, the lightest bra in the world. I was constantly with my technical team saying, we will solve this issue. No, you can't solve this issue. No, we will solve this issue. And we just kept driving the business on innovation. And it was unbelievable. And this is just some of the inventions here. This is a backless bra and the frontless backless bra. We sold 1 million units of each of them. It was an incredible journey for all of the innovations. Then I decided to give something back. And I wanted to give something back because a good friend of mine, Sir Tom Hunter, said, listen, Hen, you do 3 things in life and you'll be all right. Every single day, work the hardest you can work. Every single day, work as hard as you can. Number 2, play as hard as you can as well, because if you don't have fun, there's no point in doing it at all. And number 3, give something back. And that's what I always try and do. Every single day, those 3 things. So I wanted to have the biggest catwalk show in Scotland, in Glasgow. And everyone said, no one will come to Glasgow. You can only do it in London. I says, well, to hell with that, they will come. And they did. 2,000 people came. All the celebrities. Take That sang on the stage. Rod Stewart sang on the stage. And Penny Lancaster was on the fashion show as well. And that one night, we raised £950,000 for breast cancer, Prince's Trust, Make-A-Wish, and all these other charities. Thank you.
For more information on collaborating, partnering, sponsoring, supporting, or speaking at any of our events, or finding out more about our legacy clubs, go to www.thebestyou.co. If you're interested in finding out more about the amazing content we have, please go to www.thebestyou.online and get your 14-day free trial now.
So then, it's in the book, and I'll be signing my books, I think, just up the back. If any of you, there's not that many copies, so if you want one, you better be quick and I'll sign it for you. By the end of that, I had a little fallout with Penny, and it's all in the book, chapter 11. 11. And it is chapter 11. And I thought, what am I going to do now? We've had this little fallout. We've had this massive PR. How do I take the brand on to the next level? I'm out of ideas. And sometimes you do think you get out of ideas. But actually, if you try really hard, you haven't. It's only just begun. So what did I do? I signed his ex-wife, Rod Stewart's ex-wife, Rachel Hunter. And it created £260 million of press worldwide. The war began between Penny and Rachel and me and Rod, and it went on and on and on. But meanwhile, the brand was growing into this world-famous brand that started off with nothing, absolutely nothing. After that, Prince Charles asked me to join the board of the Prince's Trust, and I did that. And that was an amazing opportunity, incredible opportunity to be sitting on that board for 12 years. I absolutely love the Prince's Trust. After that, we launched ultimo.co.uk, and invention after design was coming out. But I knew I had to expand the business. I couldn't just have one brand. You can't have all your eggs in one basket. So I created 9 brands from scratch. 9 super brands from scratch. And you can do it. If every single brand has a brand Bible, its own DNA, and you treat it all, that separate brand, so it doesn't conflict with all the other brands. We ended up signing with the supermarkets at the bottom, all the department stores in the middle, the lingerie boutiques as well, and the higher end stores like Harrods and Selfridges. And Asda, Michelle for George, was one of the biggest commercial lingerie brands, even to this date. But then Tesco came along, and they say every little bit helps, and I was off like a shot. And we created a Dormois for Debenhams, a French brand. We're buying everything from all these French embroideries and lace. But the bra industry is a very technical industry, 28 components to one bra. And you need all those technical patterns and everything to drop on the line all at once. So our CTPs, our critical time paths, were ginormous. But we managed the business really, really well. And everyone had their KPIs, their key performance indicators. And that's how we managed to grow the business. After that, we signed with Dunnes Stores, a Dormois, and we sold 1 million pre-orders on the One, which was the lightest bra in the world. And it's still a big seller in the UK to this date. Celebrity after celebrity. I used to beg them to work for me, and then the tables had turned. They were begging me. From Naomi Campbell to Helena Christensen to the Spice Girls to Girls Aloud to all these famous supermodels were begging me to sign them all. I used to have lunch with them and see how they would react. And some are signed and some are left the table early because I couldn't stand them. And you've got to pick the best brand ambassadors for your business. They are representing your brand. And don't take any crap from them. And you've got to believe that, this will be amazing for you. So I ain't paying you the £1 million that you want. Sometimes we didn't even pay them at all. That they were desperate to do the publicity campaign. And in 10 years, it went on and on, all this PR. We did New York Fashion Week. We're the first lingerie brand to ever do New York Fashion Week. And the press went on and on and on until 10 years later, we delivered £1 billion of press with no money spent. So it's really easy that you guys can do it too. Thank you. After that, we started to open up stores. And I was really down and depressed. This is a picture after I lost all the weight. But I was miserable. I put on all this weight and I couldn't see a way out until I said to Rachel Hunter on the beach one day, I'm so depressed. I just need to... I'm the same age as you and look at you and look at me. I'm so down and stressed. And she says, Michelle, you're an amazing businesswoman. Why don't you start treating your body like a business? And I did. And from that day on, I started walking, I started jogging, I started running, and I lost every single bit of weight. And she says, Michelle, you have to do your own shoot, your own photography shoot for breast cancer to encourage real women to do the same. I says, me? I'm always behind the camera. I can't go in front of the camera. She says, you've got to do it to encourage all the women out there. So I did. After 2 bottles of wine, at 9:30 in the morning, I finally took my dressing gown off and I did it. And it was even in the front cover of the New York Post that the CEO had stripped for breast cancer. It was everywhere. It was the biggest PR campaign and raised so much money for breast cancer. I'll show you very quickly and then we'll move on. There we go. That's it. Move on. Yep. And my goodness, those pictures to this day, they haunt me. And it was only like 4 pictures that I did. After that, I launched a Real Women campaign. Because it's okay in your company and your brand, guys, having all the celebrities. That's fine. But you can never forget about your real customers. And I involved my real customers. And we did the campaign before Dove. In fact, they copied us. And I think that's a real compliment. we started doing all these Real Women and all these lingerie shoots to make them feel proud of their bodies. And I mentored them all in their careers as well. And over the years, we mentored 120 women. And we did all these campaigns. And it was a real powerful campaign. And it was very emotional as well. But it was our way of giving something back to our customers. So for your brand, don't just think about the celebrities. Think about your real customers. The customer is king. If you don't listen to your customers, you don't have a business. So do as many focus groups as you possibly can. And it's so easy on Twitter and all these other social media platforms to ask a question and you'll get involved in debates. You know, I'm frustrated about a strapless bra. Which ones they like, which ones they don't like. And your surveys are already done for you with the power of social media. So after a while, I started to get involved in TV. And I did a show. Every single show, I was asked to do Big Brother, I'm a Celebrity. I used to go into my mum and say, Mum, will I do this TV show? You say, nope, you're not doing that. Nope, you're not doing that. And one day I went into my mum and I said, I've been asked to do a show because I'd lost all the weight and I wanted to get fit. I said, I've been asked to do a show called 71 Degrees North. I've got to live in a tent for a month with no bath, no shower, and it's going to be in the North Pole. She went, where's your case? I'll pack it for you. And I says, Mum, you normally tell me I'm not allowed to do these TV shows. She says, look, you, lady, have lost who you really are. I was in the Dorchester with you last week and you called up the reception and you went mental that there wasn't a pillow menu in your room. You have lost the plot. You didn't even have a pillow when you grew up in the East End of Glasgow. And you're phoning up complaining about a pillow menu. She says, you need to go away and get checked out and find out who you really are. And she was so right. And what happened, because I was in a sort of abusive bully marriage, I just thought that if I buy another car, I buy another diamond, I buy this, I buy that, it'll all go away. And I hadn't dealt with the issues. And I went away and I did that show and I came back and I started saying no, I will not do that. Don't speak to me like that, everything else. And I became the person I am today. It was the best show I ever did in my life. I found, it sounds cheesy American, but I found out who I really was and what I wanted from life. And I did all these other shows, The Apprentice and everything else. And I finally met my hero. I love Bill Clinton. And one of my very successful business guys took us all to Russia, St. Petersburg. And the Russian ballet were playing. There was 80 people in the room. Elton John was playing. Tina Turner was playing. And Bill Clinton was the guest of honour. So at midnight, I decided I was going to go up and speak to Bill. And I went up to his table and all the plainclothes security all surrounded me. I says, no, it's okay. I'm just saying hello. Hello, Mr. President Clinton. I just wanted to say that I love you so much. In fact, I just wanted to say to you, I really, really mean this. I just want to be Monica for one night only. And everyone just stared at me and his face went chalk white. And I just looked at everyone and I smiled and I realised I'd said the wrong woman. And I said, I meant Hillary, not Monica, Hillary. Anyway, I got rushed to my seats. But sometimes, don't be scared of going up to people. Go up and talk to people. And if you make a bit of an ass of yourself, then that's just life, isn't it? That really is life. But the most important time in my life was receiving my OBE from the Queen. And that was for my family and for all the team at Ultimo. Because if they weren't there growing that business and the hard work and dedication that they had put into that brand, there's no way I would be here today. So that award was for all of them, but also for the kids from deprived areas that grew up in a deprived area like I, that just shows you that you can be anything that you want to be. So that day was a really important day. After that, the press continued. we've done so much for all the charities as well. We get involved with breast cancer and the Prince's Trust more. And Peter Jones made a year-long documentary on me as well. And I became #1 businesswoman in the country, which was just quite an achievement as well. So anyone can, if I can do it, anyone can do it. But then I kind of, towards the end, I was starting to think that my ex-husband was having an affair with my head designer who lived in my guest house. And yes, they were. And I went through hell for about 3 years. And I was very bitter for about 2 of those years. And all I would say to you is that if any of you have been through that or you've been through it, there's no point in being bitter. You've got to just believe that things happen for a reason. And, you know, I just thank the Lord that my life is the way it is today, because I am the happiest woman I've ever been in my life. And thank you. And there is a rainbow out there, and my partner, Doug, he's here today, and I'm so nervous because he's watching me, but I love him to bits. And so if you just stick in there, you will meet the best man or woman in your life if you're going through that. And it was a battle then to buy my ex out of the business. I was so focused and determined to buy him out of Ultimo. And it was a battle. It was like War of the Roses. And I finally did it on the 6th of February, 3 years ago, and it was the best day of my life. And 9 months later, I woke up and I said to my mum, I can't do this anymore. I can't be in this business anymore. I've got to get out there. I've got to start a world speaking tour, write a book, do this, do that. And I've been on a tour with Tony Robbins for the last year. And what makes me passionate is trying to encourage and motivate people and telling your story and hearing other people's stories as well. So I finally sold the last bit of Ultimo, and the Prime Minister asked me to get involved in the Scottish referendum to help save the Union. And that was a pretty stressful campaign with 3 death threats. But I was really passionate about Scotland and keeping it part of the UK, and we won. And after that, I sold out to MES, the final bit, from Sri Lanka, and I became the British Airways business ambassador, and I'm currently the Bentley ambassador as well. And the Prime Minister, thank you, the Prime Minister asked me to become the business startup czar, and I'm so passionate about that, about creating entrepreneurs in the United Kingdom and building this amazing country that we live in as well. And I got a shock phone call from Buckingham Palace where the Queen had made me a lady and the Prime Minister made me a Baroness. And I felt for a while I don't belong here. You know, I'm just this wee girl from the East End of Glasgow. But I absolutely deserve to be there. And thank you. And sometimes, guys, in life, we don't like to go out of our comfort zone. We get so nervous and we always doubt. And I was so much out of my comfort zone for the House of Lords, making my maiden speech and making my other couple of speeches that I've done. So nerve-wracking. But when you push yourself out of your comfort zone, that's when you can become who you actually are. And it's amazing what you can achieve. It's just all down to confidence. So my advice to all of you is just to go for it. And if someone says no to you, so what? They say no to you. Just you look for the person that will say yes, and it will happen. Thank you. Just finishing off. After HSB saved me, I became, August last year, the Lifetime Achievement Global Award for Women. And it's my duty now is to help men as well. But yes, I am very passionate about helping women and fighting for women's issues in the House of Lords and fighting for business issues in the House of Lords too. And I've got involved with a company called Social Superstore that I think every single one of you right now needs to open up your own social superstore. It's free of charge. It's basically the Pinterest that earns you money. You will earn commission every single day where you're sharing things with your friends, and it costs zero money to set up. So guys, get on and set up and be part of this world phenomenal movement when it comes to a tech business. My book launched last year and it became #1 in the UK, and I'll be signing my book at the back. I think we've only got 100 copies, so if you want one, you're going to have to be fast. But thank you so much for listening to me, and I wish each and every one of you all the best in your careers and all the best in your personal life as well. God bless. Thank you.
For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co.